If you're a fan of any other team other than the Denver Broncos and you look at Jarrett Stidham and say there is no shot in hell that he has of beating the New England Patriots, the NFL world, mostly the players and myself, would disagree with you. We're going to talk about that on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Welcome in, by the way. My name is Moose. So we're going to get stiddy with it on the very first part of this episode. And then, of course, the back half, we're going to talk about the Luke Wattenberg injury and why there's some good news on the horizon for the Denver Broncos in that specific area. Now, I just want to make it clear that it's not just the Denver Broncos that are getting behind Jarrett Stidham because PJ Locke is already championing Jarrett Stidham like crazy, saying, Jarrett Nick Foles Stidham, let's rock, kid. Broncos country, let's get behind him. You can see a ton of different NFL players and one major superstar, notably a Broncos rival, that actually has some really kind things to say about Stiddy. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But first, I got to end the season. I got to end the Pats season. You got to end the Pats season. Let's end the New England Patriots and Brett Alper's season. Spam FNE down in the comment section down below. If we can get at least 250 FNEs, it's going to go a long way to getting the good mojo on our side and some good vibes going towards our boys come this Sunday. So Aqib Talib was the first one to talk about Jarrett Stidham, and you guys don't need any more from Aqib Talib. You know who he is, Broncos legend. He said, we know Peyton saw something in Stiddy because he paid him a 2-year, $12 million contract just to make sure that he was locked in as a great backup. I got to see him against the ones, and the day I was there, he gave us work. A pocket passer with a fucking live arm. I'm going to say it. He can make every single throw. I saw a guy who knows the offense, knows the system, makes quick decisions, and has a lively arm. I think it goes without saying that Stidham is a top 5 backup in the league. There's no doubt about it. If I had to toss up a couple of names that I think are probably like the best backups in the league, I'd probably go Tyler Huntley, Joe Flacco, Mac Jones at this point right now because he is a backup to Brock Purdy, Jacoby Brissett. And by the way, all the guys that I just named right there all have won at least one game this season. Same with Shador and Quinn Meinerz. So for everybody that's sitting there going, well, yeah, it's Jarrett Stidham, man. You guys do realize he's just got to win one game to get to the Super Bowl and then win 2 games total to win the whole damn thing. It can be done. It absolutely can be done. Now, I'm sure you're wondering who's that Broncos rival that was talking about Stiddy in the best way possible. Maxx Crosby, one of the most talented edge rushers in the game today, and honestly a future NFL Hall of Famer, in my opinion. He talked about Stiddy, too, because remember, Jarrett Stidham played for the Las Vegas Raiders at one point, and he said he's a great friend of mine, and he is a competitive individual. I witnessed him go against the San Francisco 49ers. I think it was week 17. We go against them in Vegas. He threw for like 340 yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns against one of the top defenses in the league at the time. And if you remember a couple of years ago, San Francisco's defense was outstanding and healthy. He was out there slinging the rock, confident, breaking tackles. He's tough as hell, and I got to go against him in practice all the time because he was our scout look quarterback. We got into it all the time because you know me, I can't help myself. I'm hitting the backup quarterbacks every single time. I'm talking shit, and Stidham doesn't back down. He's right back there doing whatever he needs to do and talking back to me, and I'm like, okay, I like this guy. So all of that to say this. This isn't the gauntlet of the entire season in Stiddy's hands. If you would have said that Stidham had to come in week 8 or week 9, I would have probably told you that the playoffs and a deep playoff run kind of looks like a pipe dream. But all he's got to do is win one game to get us to the Super Bowl. 1 to get us there, 2 to win the whole damn thing. If you don't think Jarrett Stidham is capable of winning 1 or 2 football games, you are beside yourself. And like I told you, this is a top 5 backup in the league. And backups are meant to go in and win football games. The reason they're backups is because they're not franchise quarterbacks, but a good backup should be able to win football games. And all you've got to do is win 1. So, let's join the Stiddy Party. Producer Jack likes this one. Sub for Broncos Dubs. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Get the victory vibes going. Join the Stiddy Party. Let's just get the good vibes going and help the Broncos win on Sunday. By the way, we'll be live for that as well coming this Sunday. We're going to be live about 90 minutes before game time, so make sure you pull up because we got a big, big game ahead of us. Now, coming up next, we're going to talk about Luke Wattenberg and that injury update, and it is good news, by the way. Kind of similarly to J.K. Dobbins, there's no official word yet that he's going to come back and play this coming Sunday in the AFC Championship game, but the first step into getting back into it happened earlier today. Now, before we touch on that, I got to tell you about my friends over at PrizePicks. The big game is almost here, and I'm hoping the Broncos are playing in it, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with PrizePicks, and where it is always good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, this also means that your last chance to get into the football action before next season is right here. So close out the season the right way with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. They got a brand new feature alert, by the way. They have early payouts, meaning if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Lineups take 30 seconds to make, my friend. You pick your player, the more or less on their stat projections, and you watch your money multiply. Up to 2,000 times your cash this football season on PrizePicks. So do me a favor, download the app today, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It is good to be right. My boy Zach Attack on the first report that Luke Wattenberg is eligible to return off of IR this week and play in the AFC Championship game. That's a big can, not a will. But when originally placed on IR, Sean Payton indicated that the timetable would be right around this AFC Championship game if the Broncos were to make it. So there is a chance that he is back this week. And I know that I saw a couple of fans get down in the comment section of the last video, and they were like, well, do we really want to rush these players back and risk further injury? Yeah, you do. This is for all the marbles. You win this, you're going to the Super Bowl. This is the time to risk it all. You have to risk everything. And there are 4 notable players, all on the offensive side of the ball, by the way, that are kind of up in the air at this point. Dobbins, Wattenberg, Bryant, who we are all like 99% sure is going to play, and Troy Franklin. All of these players, by the way, all 4 of these players, if they are healthy enough to play, healthy enough is the key phrase there, they should be in the game. Every single one of them. Now, if their performance is directly impacted by their ability and their injury status, then maybe you don't. But you have to identify that at practice. If they're good enough to get on the field and give you productivity, they should be out there. If it's going to be a hindrance to the team, then don't put them out there. That's a coaching decision. That's a Sean Payton, a Joe Lombardi, a Davis Webb decision. And I trust Payton's ability to see who's ready and who's not. And you're a potential starting offense, if everything goes right, looks like this. Stiddy, Dobbins, Sutton, Bryant, Engram, Bolles, Powers, Luke Wattenberg, Quinn Meinerz, and Mike McGlinchey. I had to throw Marvin Mims at the very bottom there because we don't have the capability to do a 11-piece graphic here. So I'll give you the 10 and then a little also Marvin Mims down there. Down below. But that is the ideal starting lineup right there for the Denver Broncos. And by the way, if you eliminate Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham, just look at the rest of that starting lineup. That's the same starting lineup that helped you get to 14-3. I get it. The quarterback is the most important position on the entire field. I get it. I understand where we're coming from. But plugging and playing Jarrett Stidham in there to go out and execute a game plan that is focused on the run and having Stidham just methodically move the football, don't do anything crazy, and in certain spots be aggressive. That's what I'd be doing. 90% I would be saying don't make the mistakes, and 10% of it is try to be amazing. That would be my game plan for Stiddy. We'll talk about that later on this week, by the way, in an actual preview that we'll do against the New England Patriots. But predominantly Orange also talked about why all these injuries are going to be important for Jarrett Stidham's game plan. And they said this: it's going to be the formula for next week for Denver to win the next 2 games. It isn't clear right now how much Jarrett Stidham can handle. I think he can handle a lot. So prioritizing the run is simply something that the team's going to have to do. The Broncos have not had much success running the ball since Dobbins left. So logically, the entire rushing attack gets better when he returns. There's no doubt about it. Now, I'm not saying Stidham is not capable of throwing the ball 35 times. What I am saying is that you have to be smart and methodical about what your game plan looks like up against the New England Patriots, who notably right now are 5.5-point favorites, right? So I look at this and I say we have a shot to win this, but we've got to be smart about playing it. And if we get down, okay, then throw caution to the wind and just try to go out there and score points. But there is a certain game plan the Broncos need to be aware of, and I think it starts on the ground with J.K. Dobbins when he comes back. That's all I got for you in this episode. A reminder to like today's episode. Hit that sub button. We are this much closer to our AFC Championship game. As always, Broncos country, mile high salute. Be cool.